You don't believe in God anymore. Maybe you used to. Maybe you grew up in church, or temple, or mosque, and somewhere along the way, something cracked. A prayer that went unanswered. A loss that didn't make sense. A quiet moment where you looked up and felt nothing looking back. So you stopped. But here's the thing nobody talks about. Even after you stopped believing, you didn't stop reaching. At 3 a.m. when the anxiety hits and the ceiling won't stop staring back at you. After the phone call that changes everything. In the middle of a panic attack in a Walgreens parking lot, when you're gripping the steering wheel and you don't even know what you're saying, but something is coming out of your mouth that sounds a lot like please. Please. To no one. To nothing. To whatever might be listening. You reach. Even when you don't believe there's anything to reach toward. Buddhism noticed this. Buddhism, the tradition that famously has no God, no creator, no divine being running the universe, looked at this very human instinct and said, "You're not crazy. You're not delusional. What you're reaching toward is real. You just have the wrong map for what it is." Today, I want to give you the right map. By the end of this video, you won't just understand what Buddhists are doing when they bow before a golden statue. You'll understand something about yourself, about that reaching, that aching, that 3 a.m. prayer that no one has ever explained to you quite this way before. Part 1. The Man Who Refused to Be a God. Let me tell you about a moment that happened 2,500 years ago. A moment so strange and so human that I think about it often. A man named Siddhartha had just spent 49 days sitting under a tree. He wasn't meditating in the way we think about meditation today. Peaceful, candles, a nice cushion. He was in the fight of his life, wrestling with the deepest questions the human mind can hold. Why do we suffer? Why do we lose everything we love? Is there a way out, or is this just what existence is? And then, in the early hours of the morning, as the last star faded from the sky, something broke open. He described it later as seeing, not thinking, not believing, seeing, the entire nature of the mind, the chain of causation that drives all suffering, the way out, all of it, suddenly visible, the way you can suddenly see every piece of furniture in a dark room, the moment someone turns on the light. He sat there for a long time after that, just sitting, not moving. And when he finally stood up and walked back into the world, people could sense something was different about him. A farmer passing on the road stopped and stared. "What are you?" He asked. "Are you a god?" "No." "An angel? A spirit?" "No." "Then what are you?" And the man who had become the Buddha looked at him and said simply, "I am awake." That's it. That was the whole claim. Not "I am God," not "I will save you," not "worship me." I was asleep like everyone else, and now I'm not, and I want to show you how. He spent the next 45 years walking dusty roads, sitting with farmers and kings and outcasts, teaching anyone who would listen. No temples, no hierarchy, no demand for devotion. Just a man who had found the light switch and couldn't stop telling people where it was. So how did we get from that man to golden statues and incense and people on their knees? Part 2. What prayer actually is. Here's something I want you to sit with for a second. Think about the last time you were truly, deeply grateful. Not the polite kind, thanks for the gift, but the kind that catches you off guard. You're watching your kids sleep. You're driving home after something almost went very wrong. You're holding a cup of coffee on a Tuesday morning, and for no reason at all, you're suddenly aware. I am here. I am alive. This is real. And something in you wants to say something to someone, to the moment itself, to the fact that any of this exists at all. That impulse, that wordless, directionless gratitude is one of the most universal human experiences there is. It cuts across every culture, every religion, every century. Buddhism calls that impulse the beginning of waking up, because what you're touching in that moment, that sense of something larger, something luminous, something that the ordinary thinking mind can't quite grab onto, Buddhism says that's not your imagination. That's reality, briefly glimpsed without the usual filters. And prayer, real prayer, in any tradition, is the practice of turning toward that, deliberately, again and again, until the glimpse becomes a gaze. Part 3. 3 rooms in the same house. Now, walk back into that temple with me. Same incense. Same golden statue. Same people on their knees. But now, let me show you 3 very different things that might be happening in that room, depending on which tradition of Buddhism you're standing in. Room 1. Theravada, the bow that asks for nothing. An elderly Thai woman named Mei Chi kneels before a Buddhist statue every morning at 5 a.m. She has done this for 60 years. She doesn't ask for anything. She doesn't petition. She doesn't bargain. She simply bows 3 times, forehead touching the cool stone floor, and recites in Pali. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sammasambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the perfectly awakened one. If you asked Mei Chi who she was praying to, she would smile and say, "I'm not praying to anyone. I'm reminding myself of what's possible." The statue is not a god. It is a mirror. Every morning she bows. She is bowing to the possibility of her own awakening, honoring the proof that a human mind can become that free, that clear, that awake. It's not so different from a runner who keeps a photo of their hero on the wall. Not worship, aspiration. Room 2. Mabayina, the compassion that hears you. A Chinese-American woman named Linda hasn't slept properly in 3 months. Her mother has been in the hospital. The bills are mounting. Her marriage is fraying at the edges. Every night she lights incense before a statue of Guanyan, the Bodhisattva of compassion, and she talks, really talks, the way you talk to someone you trust completely. In Mahayana Buddhism, Guanyan is not God, but Guanyan is not nothing either. Guanyan is understood as a being of infinite compassion who has vowed, across countless lifetimes, to remain reachable to every suffering creature until all of existence is free. The name Guanyan literally means the one who perceives the sounds of the world, the cries, the whispers, the 3 a.m. prayers in Walgreens parking lots. All of them heard. Is this metaphor? Is it literal? Buddhism holds the question open, because Buddhism understands that some truths are larger than the binary of real and not real. What Linda knows is this: when she talks to Guanyan, something shifts. The tightness in her chest loosens. The thoughts slow. She feels not fixed, not rescued, but accompanied. That is not nothing. Room 3. Vajrayana, the God that lives inside you. In a small room in Kathmandu, a Tibetan monk named Tenzin sits in front of a Thangka painting of Chenrezig, the deity of compassion, and begins to chant, Om Mani Padme Hum. As he chants, he visualizes Chenrezig above him, white, luminous, four-armed, radiating light. He breathes the light in. He becomes slowly the figure he is visualizing. In Vajrayana Buddhism, the deities are not external gods. They are qualities of the awakened mind itself: compassion, wisdom, clarity, fierce love, given form, given color, given sound, so that the human mind has something to hold on to as it learns to embody them. You are not worshiping the deity. You are becoming what the deity represents. The visualization is a training. The mantra is a technology. The goal is transformation, not salvation from outside, but liberation from within. Part 4. What this means for your 3 a.m. Here's the thread running through all 3 rooms. In every form of Buddhist practice, from the simplest bow to the most elaborate Tibetan visualization, the direction of the gesture is the same, not outward to a God who controls the universe, not inward to a self that needs to figure everything out, but toward something that is both, something that lives at the border between you and the world, between what you are now and what you are capable of becoming. Buddhism says the peace you're looking for is not somewhere else. It's not in the right relationship, the right job, the right number in your bank account. It's not even in the right belief system. It is in the quality of awareness you bring to this moment, right now, the way you are present or not present to your own life as it is actually happening. And every genuine spiritual practice, every bow, every chant, every whispered prayer is just a way of practicing that presence, of returning to it again and again until it stops being something you do and becomes something you are. Closing. So the next time you find yourself reaching at 3 a.m. in a parking lot in the middle of a grief that doesn't have a name, don't dismiss it. Don't tell yourself you're being irrational or weak or childish for talking to something you can't see. Buddhism would say, you are doing the most human thing there is. You are touching the edge of something real. You just haven't been given the right language for it yet. The golden statue is not the point. The incense is not the point. The point is the reaching, the turning toward, the quiet, stubborn insistence, even in the dark, even alone, even when nothing answers back, that something in you knows there is more to this life than what the anxious mind can see. That knowing, that reaching, is where every tradition begins. Buddhist or not, believer or not, it begins the moment you stop waiting to be certain and start turning toward the light anyway. If something in this video opened a door you didn't know was there, share it with someone who's been standing in the dark a little too long. They might need this map more than you know. Until next time, keep reaching.